I've been watching all of the Fast and Furious movies and doing reviews of them on this channel. Now I'm up to the 8th film, The Fate of the Furious, and you know what? Much like the rest of the series, it was a blast, it was loud, it was slick, it was full of action, and it was packed with charismatic actors delivering good performances, knowing exactly what kind of movie they were in, and it was also amazingly stupid. I mean, truly, next level, logic just left the building dumb. But here's the thing, I had fun anyway. Even as I sat there shaking my head, I couldn't help but smile. The movie is so confident in its own insanity that it dares you not to enjoy it. Stick around as I break it all down and explain what works despite its ridiculousness. Full spoilers ahead. The movie opens up in Cuba, where Dom and Letty are on their honeymoon. It's a nice callback to the series' roots: street racing, pride, and cars that look like they're held together by sheer willpower. Dom defends his cousin's honor by racing a local hotshot in a car that might be better described as a scrap pile with wheels. Naturally, Dom wins, and he does so by driving backwards while his car is on fire, before the car literally explodes and he jumps out at the last possible second. Somehow he walks away without a scratch because of course he does. Everyone cheers. And nobody seems to care that this is all happening in Cuba. Remember, Cuba is a communist dictatorship where the government controls basically everything, and yet apparently giant illegal street races are happening in broad daylight with massive cheering crowds and not one cop is in sight. It's bright and beautiful to look at, it's colorful, it's energetic, and it makes me want to light up a Cuban cigar, but it's all pure fantasy. Still, the opening scene is the most Fast and Furious thing possible to have in this movie. Things get serious fast when Dom runs into a woman who is having car trouble, but it's a trap. She's Cypher, the villain of the film. She's a cyber terrorist who blackmails Dom into betraying his family by revealing that she's kidnapped Elena, Dom's ex from Fast 5, a character that I had to struggle to remember and barely cared about then. And she had a baby, so Dom, realizing that he was a father, was willing to do what Cypher wanted to protect that unexpected family. So even though most of the movie it seems like Dom is betraying his crew, he's actually expanding his family. But it was a neat twist to see Dom sort of return to his bad guy roots. Cypher's performance here feels strangely flat. It's like she's trying to sound menacing, but comes across as bored. Still, her plan is big: manipulate global systems, seize nuclear control, and apparently start World War III from the comfort of her fancy airplane command center. It's like Fast and Furious meets Mission Impossible if the impossible part referred to basic logic. Next up, Dom double-crosses his own crew on a mission in Berlin to steal an EMP device for Cypher for reasons we don't yet know. The Rock, Lou Hobbs, gets caught and thrown in prison, where he ends up in a cell right next to Deckard Shaw, the bad guy from the previous film, the same guy who literally tried to murder everyone last time around. And this is where the movie goes completely off the rails. Remember Shaw? He killed Han, he blew up a hospital to go visit his brother, he nearly killed Brian's wife and child by setting a bomb that detonated. You know, there's a kid there. He almost killed a child, but now he's cracking jokes and joining the team like it's buddy cop day at Universal Studios. Apparently all is forgiven at the end because nothing says redemption like a few witty one-liners and rescuing a baby later in the film. Still, watching Jason Statham and The Rock banter back and forth is admittedly very fun, like two action movie archetypes trying to out-charisma each other, and it works. Cypher orders Dom to steal the nuclear football from a Russian defense official in New York City, and that's where the movie unleashes one of the wildest scenes in the entire franchise. Cypher hacks into every remotely drivable car in the city, turning Manhattan into a demolition derby of self-driving cars. Cars rain down from parking garages. It's all very fun to watch. But after all is said and done, I feel bad for the New York police officers that'll have to write up those police reports, and I think an insurance company or two may have gone bankrupt. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's absolutely fun. It might be the best part of the film. And you know what makes no sense though? Even if Cypher got the nuclear codes, they'd be instantly deactivated the moment the briefcase went missing. So that entire plot device becomes utterly pointless. But who cares? There are flying cars. There are cars falling from the sky. Who has time to use their brain when things look so awesome? Meanwhile, Dom struggles under Cypher's control, secretly trying to outsmart her while pretending to play along. It's a nice twist, showing him forced to betray the very family he built. But when Cypher murders Elena right in front of him, it becomes clear she's not just evil, she's cartoonishly evil. Cold, calm, and utterly joyless. You almost wish the writers would have given her some actual motivation beyond "I'm evil and chaos is cool." The movie wants her to be a James Bond villain, but they forgot to give her a personality. Eventually, the movie goes to Russia in the Arctic, where Cypher's goons are trying to hijack a submarine carrying nuclear weapons, so that they can use that nuclear football thing that they have that wouldn't work anymore, but whatever. Dom joins the family in a climactic ice road chase scene that feels like the franchise's attempt to outdo itself again. Cars drift across the frozen tundra, a submarine fires torpedoes that blow up cars through the ice, Dom drives his car over an exploding submarine while fire bursts through the ice behind him. He's about to get blowed up, but the cars surround him where his friends protect him. Physics are gone, logic is missing, entertainment is racked up to its maximum level. It's like watching a video game. The logic doesn't really matter so much, it's just an excuse to go from action sequence to action sequence. There are very, very short little bits that explain what's going on. Those bits don't really make any logical sense, but they accomplish the goal of just setting up the next over-the-top action sequence, and really that's all they need to be, and that's all they do. The movie's most unexpectedly great sequence is Deckard Shaw's rescue of Dom's baby. A mid-air gunfight on a plane complete with a baby in a carrier with noise-canceling headphones. It's ridiculous but charming, mostly because Jason Statham somehow pulls it off. He goes from mass murderer terrorist to a lovable babysitter in a single scene. I didn't buy it for a second, but I found myself smiling the whole time. I'm like, okay, I guess this is the character now. He was a mass murdering terrorist in the last movie, but now he's smiling and protecting a baby. He's still killing a bunch of people, but now he's one of the good guys all of a sudden. Cypher escapes by parachute because of course she does, we need her in the sequels apparently, and everyone celebrates on a rooftop afterwards in New York City like nothing had happened. Dom introduces his baby, now named Brian, a touching nod to Paul Walker's character, and the family toasts everything with Coronas. Now once again, nobody goes to jail. Dom did a whole bunch of criminal acts on multiple continents, but there are absolutely no consequences. You'd think the Russian government would have a thing or two to say about him stealing their nuclear secrets, but you know what? All is well, because when you're fast and furious, laws and physics do not apply to you, only family. The Fate of the Furious wants to be a high-stakes international spy thriller, but it really is just a string of barely connected action scenes stitched together by car grease and charisma. The story doesn't make sense, the science is a joke, the character arcs contradict half of the series' history, yet it is wildly entertaining. There's something admirable about a movie so confident in its own absurdity, it doesn't care if it makes sense. It just wants to go faster, blow things up bigger and louder, and keep yelling family. Still, I'm starting to reach my limit of how much stupidity I can forgive in the name of fun, but man oh man, was it fun. If you like this video, hit that like button and drop a comment down below telling me what you thought of The Fate of the Furious, and subscribe to the channel because I'm going to watch Hobbs and Shaw next, and I'm sure I'll have a thing or two to say about it. And if you want something with a little more logic and a lot fewer submarines, check out my novels, available on Amazon.com. I recommend starting with Judas Kissed. It has time travel, nuclear weapons, a serial killer, the mafia, and other shenanigans. And hopefully you enjoy reading about it. My name is Eric Wilfred Watson, signing out.